Yeah, man. Yesterday was a bit of a dud with the audio being crap, so it's good to be back on Restream and live. And yeah, man, yeah, the audio here is really cool. So, yeah, man, yesterday was good to see Pakistan against West Indies, a full match happening in the second T20. They won convincingly, but the total that I found was under par. But I think Pakistan are another, you could say, dark horses for the T20 World Cup. I think how many ODIs T20s are they playing? I think the
I think there's four. I think there's four games that's going to be taking place. I think there's another one
okay,
today as well. So it's a
okay.
back to back matches, which is always difficult. But T20 format it gives you a chance to get back into the game. I was actually disappointed in the way Windies played in this game because after restricting Pakistan, as you said, to 158, which is below par. I mean, normally par is around 165, 170. So this was below par, 158. So I thought they did a good job first half of this game, restricting Pakistan to 158. But the way they went about it was not good at all. I guess losing that wicket of Fletcher, second ball getting bowled by Hafiz, and then losing momentum in the middle there. But I know Lewis' injury wasn't helpful as well. He had to get
Hmm.
out, come off. So T20 cricket is this as such. If you're not ahead of the run rate, you're always going to be behind at some point.
Hmm.
And I think that's exactly what happened. Uh, they tried to catch up. I mean, Puran did well there towards the end.
Hmm. Very well. Yeah.
Nasty blows there, but it seems like they were always behind the run rate, and
Hmm.
it would have taken a monumental effort to get over the line. But had they played to a tempo where they were,
Hmm.
at eight and
Sensible.
over,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
even after 10 overs, if they were, say, 80 odd, they would needed like 78, 79 to score in the last 10, which would have been
Yeah.
pretty, I would have said pretty comfortable in the end for them. But
Yeah,
it
the
seems
problem
always,
is the
yeah,
problem with T20 is that people are too much of bash, 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 but not enough application.
yeah, I guess they're going back to their old bad habits, the Windies. Just trying to bash the ball
Ah,
all over the place instead of just, somebody dropping anchor there and somebody playing through the innings. I thought Lewis could have been that guy yesterday, but unfortunately
hmm.
he was injured. So just too much
Yeah.
for them to do towards the end, eh? Which is strange because if I look at the total wasn't a very
Yeah.
difficult total to achieve in the end. I mean,
Hmm.
158. I think on most days, team bowling first would be happy with that. But it is what
Hmm.
it is, eh? So back to the drawing board for them today.
But it's early days. The series has just started because the first one was washed out, the second one has happened, and then the last two T20s, as you say, four. So I think West Indies can still come back. But this is a very fascinating series. You've got like two dark horses. Actually, not really dark horses. We just say West Indies are now one of the favorites, and Pakistan is really a dark horse because you just don't know what you're going to get with them. But I would want to put West Indies maybe as another dark horse because their form, besides before the Australian series, was a bit patchy. So let's just make these two both dark horse teams against one another. So you'll never know what you're going to get with them. It's a bit unpredictable, which makes it fun. So yeah, you want to move to the next segment?
I guess you never know what you're going to get with two teams, but I would say Windies being defending champions, you can't really take them
Hmm.
lightly, especially in a World Cup format.
Hmm. Hmm.
Pakistan have always, I think Pakistan, if you look at Pakistan, historically, they've always pushed above their weight in tournaments. They probably didn't have, if you look at the Pakistan side compared to some other teams, uh,
Oh, okay.
they really didn't have that sort of players. I mean, star players, but
Hmm.
they seem to always try to flourish in tournaments. So in a
Yeah.
way, they push above their weights in tournaments. Uh,
Yeah.
as you say, you don't know what Pakistan side you're going to get on the day. I mean, this Pakistan side could be playing brilliant cricket going into the tournament, and then they come to the tournament and then they just They just flop. However, I just had that funny feeling that it's not going to happen with this Pakistan team. They're going to be hard to beat in that World Cup. Definitely.
Yeah, but then I've just thought about it. I don't think this pitch, and I know I shouldn't be mentioning my pitches, but this pitch also wasn't really the best. And also, Pakistan's bowling is a lot better than Australia's, I think. So I think the bowling is going to play a
Yeah,
big
yeah, that's a
factor
fair
in this
point.
series.
That's definitely a fair point. And yeah, Pakistan have got quite a dangerous bowling attack, and that's that bowling attack can win you games. So I've seen them defend a lot of totals recently, which is
Hmm.
quite impressive in a way.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, man, they are a side to watch, including the Windies as well. So these are two exciting sides. Not the most consistent, but geez, you really can't take them lightly, hey?
Yeah. Okay. I think what we now to try and revisit yesterday, I think we speak about West Indies and Australia. I think Australia won the series 2-1. I know Pollard wasn't happy with the pitch for the third game. It was strange. You said yesterday that the pitch was for the fast bowlers, but I thought it was more for the spinners. It didn't really, I don't know. I thought it was, as usual, one of those typical West Indian strange pitch, nothing really too exciting.
It was a pitch where you bent your back, you could take wickets, and that's exactly what Stark did as well. So he took a lot of wickets in
Oh,
that game, and give a lot of credit to Aga as well. I think he bowled beautifully in his 10 overs. He went for 31, 2 for 31. So that's fantastic figures in limited overs cricket. So all in all, it was a professional performance from Australia. I think winning the series and comfortable win for them in the end by 6 wickets. They never really look out of this one. So yeah, you can see the gulf of in class between both sides, especially when
yeah,
it comes to
for the
series
50
as a whole.
overs, yeah.
Yeah, and 50 overs. So I think Australia are much more settled and organized
Hmm.
team. 50 overs, they know exactly how to play 50 over cricket, as opposed to the Windies where it's bang bang bang, and we see it all the time. And there's not enough
Yeah,
emphasis on
application,
staying at the
yeah.
wicket and building an
Hmm.
innings, which is so important. Lack of composure, I would say.
Yeah, it's just some more of an application story with them.
Mm,
I had to remember what
absolutely.
was that. I'm trying to remember now. What were the other teams we had spoken about yesterday off the cuff? Do you remember?
I guess
Okay,
there's only
so
one other series that was actually
oh
taking place
yes,
was
I remember now. I
Sri
remember now.
Lanka
It was
and
Sri
India.
Lanka beating the Indians in the T20 series. Damn, I didn't
That's it.
expect that. It was pathetic performance in the third T20. I was like, is this a joke? I was like, but then when I was reading the article, these two teams are very chummy, eh? Sometimes I had this feeling that the series was more like doing the other team a favor because just to give them some morale, man. Because gosh, the ODI series, fine. I know Sri Lanka did do well in the ODI series, but I don't know. Felt there was a bit of charity going on with all the team changes and all that jazz. So yeah, but it's
Yeah, look,
okay. I
certainly
mean,
this
yeah.
was not the strongest Indian team, I would say,
Hmm.
but there were a lot of players that were reluctant to go to Sri Lanka and play the series. So, I guess I don't like to read too much into who plays and who doesn't. I
Hmm.
think in
Hmm.
a way, if you're an international side, you just probably got to
Hmm.
beat the team that plays. It doesn't matter who the opposition is. You just gotta go out and beat them, and you can only beat what's in front of you. I feel so. If you beat what's in front of you, you're good enough. So in saying this, I would say Sri Lanka they've probably improved in their performances over a period. So I would give them a bit of credit. It really doesn't matter who you're playing at the end of the day. I mean, we know it's an understrength team. We can see it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that are missing, but you got to beat what's in front of you, and that's what they did. So uh, congrats to them.
Okay. Um, what have been your thoughts on the whole now I think on this whole trying to remember now. There's been a lot of these. I know I've been sending you these articles and all this, racism within South African cricket circle. Like, what have been your quick thoughts on it? Because it's been pretty sad, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories that's coming up at the moment. Uh, I mean, I know for one, this current management at CSA are totally against any of this sort of discrimination, and we see it how they get behind Black Lives Matter movement and stuff. So I would say things are pretty healthy in this current state. But what we're seeing is old stories appearing. Old stories
Yeah.
that maybe at a certain point there were accusations, and that's what it is at the moment. Until it's proven. Uh, Look, South Africa is a diverse country, and if you look at this, and if you look at this, the Protea side as well, very diverse, and a lot of times you're going to get a team where there's going to be more players of color than white players, but it is what it is, and I feel all the players that are there, irrespective of being white or being of color, are there on merit. None of them are just being pushed playing for your national, which I would think would be insane to pick an average player to be part of your national team. I think you got to pick the best talent that's available to you that can win you ODI matches, win you T20 matches, win you Test matches. And I think CSA has probably got their best team, and they always try and put their best team possible, especially important games. So. Quotas are going to be an issue for as long as it is. But I think people make a lot out of it sometimes because you got to understand how the quota system works. The quota system works whereby over a period of time you've got to have a certain number of colored players of color into the team. So it doesn't really mean that you've got to have 5 or 6 players of color in this series. It's over a period of time, like say in a year, if you can probably, I would say if you can produce 6 or 7 players of color in the setup, then you've met your quota requirements. So that is what the quotas is there for. It's there to promote talent at the end of the day. It's not to weaken a national team. So I think there's sometimes a misunderstanding of the quota system because I can be honest and say there's sometimes there's a few white players in the team that don't perform, and let's be honest about that. You're gonna it's not always down to certain players of color. There's a lot of white players that don't perform as well, so we need to address that as well.
And they get a longer stint than the players of color. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I would say so because you see the problem here. A lot of these white players are senior players in it. Because if you had to drop them, you've got to get someone as good as them to be replaced, which is difficult, which is really, really difficult. Let's be honest. I mean, if you're gonna drop Aiden Markram now from the Test side, who do you put in there as an opener? That's difficult.
I don't think you'd ever drop from the Test side, but if you dropped him from the ODI side, it would make a lot more sense compared to the Test team.
No,
I think he's a
absolutely.
better Test player than I think on a final note, your thoughts on Ben Stokes taking an indefinite break from cricket? That was a bit of a surprise when I saw the article, but it makes sense with this whole COVID causing too much problems.
No, absolutely it does. Hey, I think it's very good that athletes are coming up now and speaking about it because it was something that wasn't spoken about for a very long time. That the mental aspect of what COVID has done to people, and I guess it's put people in a sort of isolated situation where you're in a bio bubble and you really can't get out of it, and it's difficult. It's a sort of thing like when we talk about a bio bubble with athletes, it's a sort of thing like what we experience as ordinary people being at home for such a long period of time, and it gets to you. It mentally drains you. It gets to you because you really can't you want to go out and you want to, just live a bit, but you can't because of the health hazards at the moment due to this virus. So it's the same thing with regards to an athlete, because if you look at touring back in the day, as before COVID, I mean, if a player goes on tour, there's a lot of things that he can do uh, within that tour. He can probably go play a round of golf, or probably go to the beach, go on boat trips and stuff. Just relaxing and switching off from cricket. But unfortunately, at this moment in time, you can't do that. So you're stuck in you're stuck probably in a bubble, and it's exactly what a lot of people are going through at the moment, where they're just stuck indoors. And look, in being indoors for too long is not good. I would say you've got to be out there. You want to be active.
Mm.
You just want to go out and socialize a bit, but it's difficult at the moment. So those things actually build up uh, inside, and it affects your mental health. So yeah, I mean, credit to him for just probably it was getting too much for him, so he pulled away for a while. And it could be a blessing in disguise for him, which is going to help him. This time will help
Mm.
him escape from all this, and he can get some much needed rest, and look at different ways that he can find some peace, probably
Yeah.
doing some meditation, or listening to very
Meditation. That's a good one.
cool music and stuff, something that he can just
Yeah.
switch off. It's difficult,
Yeah.
or there's nothing wrong with seeing a professional as well. So if he can see a
Yeah.
professional, speak about his problems, and yeah, he can address it,
Mm.
and that's how he can heal. Because I think it's very important at the
Yeah.
moment, because a lot of people are going through this, and I guess a lot of people really don't have that sort of resources that others might have, in terms of seeing a
Mm.
psychologist or getting that sort of treatment that they require. So it's very, very important. Yeah, I feel it needs to be spoken about much more, and it needs to be treated as any sort of illness that's out there. It needs to be spoken about like how we speak about flu or any other
Yeah.
symptom. I feel there should be no sort
Yeah.
of stigma.
Yeah. I think on a final note, do you think this gives India a much better chance of beating England, or do you think England have enough talent to still win the series? And I know Michael Vaughan had mentioned that the Ashes may be a bit of a farcical affair because of the restrictions there in Australia. So, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, it's difficult times we're living at the moment, man. I mean, Australia is going through their COVID issues at the moment, and their cases are increasing.
Oh, okay.
Look, I would think England over 5 tests, they probably want to pick their best team, and I'm pretty sure, away from the game for this while, they're looking at players that can make a difference in their side. So I think from a bowling point of view, uh, both sides are quite evenly matched, I would say, in conditions, because if you look at England, they've got those two wily foxes there in Broad and Anderson, which I mean, they can cause a lot of damage in those sort of conditions. And
Mm.
yeah, if Ben Stokes is not going to be available, obviously that's a big blow for them, definitely. I think it evens it out a bit. However, I would put uh, England as slight favorites playing at home.
Okay. Okay. I okay. On that note, thanks for accommodating me, because I know we were supposed to start at 1, but I just thought let's make your day easier, finish early, and then yeah. And how's your throat? You feeling better?
It's getting better. It's getting better. There's still a bit of itchiness in the mornings, but yeah, taking my meds and stuff. So
Okay.
trying to let it heal.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, man. Cheers. Chat to you soon. Cheers.